Well, good night, everybody who's watching PulseoTV and its podcast. We've been doing this for a little while now in Latin America and some of the guys in the United States. Tonight, we have an arm wrestler that I've been following closely, and I've become a great fan of how he arm wrestles and everything he's doing. Adam Wawrzynski. I got that right, right?
Yes, sir. Sure did. How y'all doing tonight?
Well, you're from Poland, right?
No, so my last name is Polish, but I'm from the States, born in Pennsylvania, and I live in South Carolina now.
Okay, cool. So I would like to begin this podcast with a little story how you got started in the sport and how you become to the arm wrestler you are today.
Sure. So how I got started in the sport, it was December of 2014. I was finishing up my senior year of football, and I wasn't sure if I was going to play at the next level. So I was kind of in a dead zone, and I was watching a TV show called Game of Arms on AMC, and I saw it and I said, "Wow, this is pretty cool." I was a very strength-oriented person just through my training for football and everything, and I decided to look up arm wrestling tournaments near me, and I found WAL that was doing a tournament series at the time, I believe, and I went to a tournament and was kind of hooked ever since.
So you started going and participating in a tournament from the WAL.
Yes, so I went to a qualifier in Titusville, Pennsylvania, and I think I won the amateur 220 class or something, and that sort of invited me to go out to Vegas. I don't think it mattered whether you won your pro or amateur. They just wanted to get people out to Vegas. So I went. It was May of 2015. I went out there and saw arm wrestling for really what it is. I mean, there was 800 people at this tournament. The weigh-in, there was a line to weigh in. It was huge. Just eye-opening experience, and I told myself I wanted to be back someday. So I ended up playing football.
So you got started at a really like pretty high level.
Yeah, I got that exposure very early on. The first 4 years of my career, I was playing college football too, so I kind of was training on the side and trying to hit up 1 or 2 tournaments a year. But yes, I got exposed very early on to the highest level of arm wrestling, and it got me hooked. I've been hooked ever since.
Did you have some kind of a mentor or a guy that directed you and teach you how to arm wrestle?
So when I first started, there was a group of guys in Greenville, Pennsylvania that I was training with, and they kind of helped me get going in the sport. Guys like Kevin Arbuckle, Dan Stiver, Paul Schneider, those 3 guys kind of directed me and helped me in my early career. I was training with them for a couple months, 6-7 months while I was still in Pennsylvania before I went to college, and they actually helped. I think Kevin was the one that got me hooked up with guys in South Carolina when I moved down here for college, and I ended up staying. So yeah, I'm very thankful for them. They were great mentors, very talented, very knowledgeable, and they helped me out in my early stages of my career.
So training wise, what do you do? What did you do to get strong or prepare for a tournament or super match or whatever?
So training's kind of it's different for me. I mean, I'm a very football oriented person, so a lot of my training is set up that way as far as my overall structure, but everything's arm wrestling. So I kind of take that and put an arm wrestling mindset to it. I was on Craig Suglier's podcast a little while ago, and he was asking me the same thing, and I compared it very similar to Paul Lynn, if you're familiar with him. He's kind of somebody, the way he trains is really pretty similar to the way I train. And I kind of split it up in blocks whenever I'm in a deep training phase and I'm not, I'm getting ready for a tournament, because, you're always getting ready for an event. Just depends on where you're at or how far away it is. I will train a lot harder. I'll tear down more, eat a lot more, get bigger, stronger. I'll be a lot more tore down. And then as things get closer, I'll sort of taper off and get into sort of the fast twitch muscle fibers and get more sharp and ready and heal up for an event. So it just depends on, you know, where I'm at in the year, what event I'm getting ready for, or super match will dictate the style.
I've been kind of exploring training techniques and programs from different kinds of arm wrestlers. My first podcast I did, it was with Todd Hodgins, and I'm a power lifter, and I've known the conjugate system and the West Side barbell method for a while, long while. Rest in peace, Louis Simmons, who died this day and this last days. And when I start doing this podcast and interviews with arm wrestlers, I find interesting. I always ask about the training because everybody has a different approach to training, and everybody does whatever works for them. Because what Todd Hutchins or what I do or what I don't know, whoever does doesn't really have to work for everyone. So everybody has to adjust and work with what works for them, training wise.
Yeah, I mean you're 100% right. One of the biggest mistakes a lot of guys make is they see a certain person's training program, usually an elite arm wrestler that's got their specific regimen, and they try to mimic that. Or another big mistake I see is guys try to find the perfect setup to replicate arm wrestling in the gym, and it's just
not possible.
Me, it's not possible. What the best way to look at it, and it's just like any other sport, is, you know, you train to be strong. You know, there's no such thing as football strong, basketball strong. I mean, arm wrestling strong, but strong is strong, fast is fast, power is power. So train for those things with your respective muscle groups and put it all together in practice to be a better arm wrestler. And I think that's a great way to, you know, I mean, for lack of better terms, and, you know, just kind of an overall mindset of training, that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, I've been following you for a while now, and I like to see you arm wrestle. Your style, everything you do on the table, I love it. And I started following you when I saw you have those incredible matches with Noel, my friend Noel Nunez from Puerto Rico. You guys have had some matches, like beautiful matches, beautiful arm wrestling. It's like it's like a battle, but you can see the beauty in it because there's just two guys arm wrestling, arm for arm, just in the struggle. And I watch your matches over and over with Noel because you're like, you cancel each other out because you're almost at the same level. At least the last time you arm wrestled, you looked like you were pretty much at the same level. But it's just beautiful arm wrestling, and I've seen you have a lot of success. I think you're still the PAF regional champion, right?
Yeah, actually, I think I'm the U.S. champ now with PAF. Yes, I'm definitely the U.S. champ. Been that for a while. I started out as regional. It was the Southeast, and then I took a match to unify that, you know, via the East Coast, and then it was like East versus West, and now I'm the U.S. PAF U.S. champ. Okay,
I see you arm wrestle. I see you compete. I see your super matches, and you've had like a lot of success. And I'm a guy that I follow arm wrestlers that I know they're gonna be big in a couple of years. And right now, you're one of those guys. I remember a few years back, I was saying that Chance was going to be top 10 in the United States, and I got a lot of hate for that. But then now, look at now. In my predictions, I've been a little right, and I see you becoming a force to reckon with in the, I don't know, next 2-3 years, and I hope I see you more and people recognize the things that I'm seeing on you and give you the proper standing you need to have in the sport, because you are a tremendous, powerful arm wrestler, and I think this is just the tip of the iceberg with you. You know.
Thank you. I appreciate the kind words. I would agree 100%. You know, I'm definitely always climbing, and you know, there's big things to come in the future. You know, my foot doesn't stay off the gas, so.
No,
You're 100%
it's
right.
like you've been not a lot of guys achieve this kind of like you keep improving and improving and improving little by little. Like almost every guy has like they go they improve and they had like the stalling, you know,
Hmm.
plateau, and they go a little back and they come back strong. But what I've seen in you is you keep getting better and better and better, little by little, and you've been consistent in getting better and getting better results at tournaments and matches. Like you getting stronger and
Yeah.
stronger and stronger. And the only thing the only way I've seen you like slow down a little is when the level of your opponents are like a little over you, but still you plow through them, you know. And I
No,
love
thank
that.
you.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like I said, try to keep my foot on the gas, and I try to be smart about the way I'm training in my preparation, so that I'm not ever, plateauing. I'm sort of always changing things to where I can gradually climb. And you always got to remember, arm wrestling is it's a marathon, not a race. As far as the
Yeah.
journey goes, there's some guys try to spike really fast and get up there, and it's about doing what you're capable of and improving at your own rate. Everybody's different. So, I'm still figuring it out for myself, but I'm
But
enjoying
you're
the
doing a
journey.
great job. You're doing a
Thank
great
you.
job. Like I don't wrestle anymore. I always train and I do practices to help people get better, but I don't really arm wrestle anymore or compete or do it competitively. But I wanted to talk about this last tournament you had. You pulled
Yeah.
two divisions and you
Yes.
beat Travis Bagent. You actually
Yes.
played with Travis Bagent. Am I right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We saw each other in the super heavyweight class on the B side.
So you pulled two classes, which was 220s and
220s and supers. It was there was no
supers.
242 class at this event. It's just 220s and up.
And you won both divisions, right?
No, well, so I won the 220s, and myself and my teammate Shane Owens competed in the supers, and I was more in there to, help him out and also, get more matches. So we saw each other. I think we saw each other the second round, and I laid down to him. Well, he top roped me, and then we saw each other again in the finals, and again we just kind of
Yeah.
it didn't matter who won. And our team, Carolina Chaos, we're all about, unity, and we do our thing. So, as long as we both got to the finals, we won. So
Yeah, I
but
feel you. I
he
feel
won.
you.
He won first place. So I took second.
Yeah, I feel you. It's all about strategy when you're in a tournament, and you gotta play with the cards you're dealt, and it's good to see teammates helping each other out like that.
Right. I mean, we never really arm wrestled, but to be truthful with you, if we did, he still would have kicked my butt. So I was kind of, yeah, but we pull each other hundreds of times at practice. So there's no sense in beating up on each other some more.
So you ended up pulling Travis in side B.
Yes, on the B side, believe it or not.
And how everybody I've asked or talked about Travis Bagent, they always say they can't believe he lost or they expect him to win. When you pulled them, I saw that it was like when you got into his traps, he didn't even try.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we first set up, I actually felt pretty comfortable. His hand was threatening though. The way he set up, his tall setup, the way
High
he made
post.
his hand, it was threatening. I would compare it. Well, it's really not comparable to anybody I've ever pulled. I mean, Justin Bishop was that way a little bit, but he was different though, and it was very threatening. And I almost didn't get the slip. I don't know if I mean, I'm sure you
Yeah.
saw the match. It was one of those things where he kind of popped into my hand, and I still had a little bit, but I just kind of hit back.
Actually, I saw the match, and you got the slip, and I thought it was a loss because the slip was so fast and so low. I thought
Yes.
they were going to call the match right there, but they gave you the
Right.
strap.
Yeah, watching the replay, somebody got a very good replay of it, and I mean, I was maybe that far from losing. I got
Yeah,
that. I got
yeah.
the
It was
slip.
really
Yeah, I
close.
got the slip just in time, and then once we got in the strap, I still felt threatened the same way that I did out of the strap, but he was hooked to my arm at that point. And then once I was able to kind of engage the strap a little bit and engage my side pressure, and have I have the confidence in my hand. He didn't really.
No lies.
No, the straps don't tell lies. And it almost felt like he wasn't trying after that. I think it would have been more interesting had he
I mean, when you arm wrestle Travis Bagent, you gotta understand, at least in my opinion, when he loses on his terms. That's don't cool. Lose like when Dave Randall beat him when they were younger. But after that, you can see every match Travis had with like Devon. And Devon has beaten Travis a lot of times, but when you see those matches, they're on fouls, on whatever call, but Travis loses on his terms. And right. if he just let go of you, it's because he knew he would either get hurt or get beaten really bad. He doesn't let it get to that.
Yeah, and I think he's at a point in his career where arm wrestling, at least the training aspect of it and being great, is probably not number one on his to-do list. I think he's even come out and said that, but still, super talented. Very technical, and his hit and his hand are there. I think he just if he just work out a little bit, get that arm strength back, he could come back.
Travis is not sorry. Travis is like getting off the couch and doing these matches like with Brandon Excelsior. And that was great. And everybody, I spoke with Todd Hutchins. My podcast was after that event, and Todd told me he didn't believe Travis lost. He thought he was going to win. Travis's shape that day didn't look so good, and right now he looks skinny, right?
Yeah, he looks big, but he looks like.
He's a big guy, but compared to
he's definitely been bigger.
Yeah,
definitely been bigger. Yeah.
So
shape is not his prime.
I wanted to mention to you that there's only been another guy that it has been called Mr. Intensity in arm wrestling, and that's Alan Fisher. And I was comparing you to him with the intensity thing, because you get intense. Sometimes you get intense. You make faces and that's great. That's cool. That gives it a little spice to the match.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know if you've ever, the way I compare it to when I get up to the table, if you've ever been in a fight before.
Yes.
You after the fight, you go to try to remember, and it's sort of like that block of time.
Yeah, 5 seconds.
The adrenaline just took over, and that's sort of what happens to me when I get to the table. And some of the faces I make, and I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, what, I was doing that? What in the world? So I try to be a little bit more conscious of myself when I get up there, like, all right, maybe just relax with the tongue, or don't do any, your eyes don't have to go crazy.
But it's great. I love it because it shows that intensity in the table, and how you go from 0 to 100 in like that, and that intensity. I love it in the sports, and that's because we arm wrestlers, when we go to tournaments, we go to super matches, we go on the table, we become entertainers too, and those sorts of things. It's what draws people to watch the matches, and there's not a lot of arm wrestlers that can give a show to people like Travis did, and I believe you have that touch in you when you get that intense, and I love it, and I think that other people love that intensity, and that you make faces and you get involved, so you get lost in the match, and I love it, and I do think it's a plus for the sport, and every event that you attend and participate, it's a show just for that, and that's great for the sport.
Well, thank you. Maybe I'll just keep it uncensored for now, and just go all out. But yeah, that's sort of, when I get up there, it's sort of my way of transitioning into the war zone. That's kind of what I do. I look, and it's just like flip the switch, and then from there, it's it's all game. And yeah, it's just what you see is all the emotion that's going on, and me just going crazy, and that's what works for me. I'm glad that it's entertaining for others.
No, it's entertaining and it's good. It's a plus.
Yeah.
It's a plus. We need that in the sport, because after this COVID thing happened, I believe arm wrestling got stronger, and it's coming strong out of the pandemic, because arm wrestling never stopped. Every other sport stopped, but arm wrestling kept going with this Latte wheel things and the King of the Table and all those shows that came up, because these YouTubers didn't have any content to make, because everything else was on hold. But arm wrestling kept going, and we got to thank Devon. We got to thank Larry Wheels, because they kept it going. And right now, I don't think arm wrestling has been in this high of a thing it has in the past. Like, this is like right now is the highest point of arm wrestling in history right now.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, arm wrestling, it's pretty popular right now. Big organizations are continuing to promote and set up big matches. Larry Wheels has done a great job with King of the Table. Yeah, you're right. I mean, and other smaller promoters that are running events have done a great job. And arm wrestling's at a high right now, and I think it's only going to continue to go up.
Yeah, and let's talk about a little. What's your opinion? Who do you think will win, Devon or Levan?
Ooh. Well, do you want my real opinion or?
No opinion. We this is uncensored. We give our opinion. I have my opinion. Who do you think? Like me, I will tell you right off the bat. I think Devon will win, and I think because, like, I don't like this talk that people have, like Devon is climbing the mountain. Like, that's not correct, because Devon has achieved more in his years in arm wrestling than Levan. Like, Levan is like the top guy right now, but Devon has had his ups and downs, and has won, and he's been in the sport, and Devon has been #1 in the world in the sport in both arms. Like, it's not like Devon is climbing the mountain. It's like Devon is trying to redeem himself after the loss with Denis Seklenkov. That was like, if you see the match, Devon looked like 200 pounds, like really skinny. He wasn't in shape. He had elbow surgery a couple of months before that match, and he took it and went there, and he lost. But I don't think that he's climbing a mountain. He's just trying to, like I said, like he's looking for reckoning, because he was the man, and I still think him and John are the man, and I think that Devon, if Devon can stop Levan, the match is over. And yeah.
I mean, I have mixed feelings about it. I think at King of the Table, with that format, Devon's capable of beating anybody. Now, I think if that match happens in PAL, Devon's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
All respect for Devon in the world. I love it. I mean, he's great. And, I just think he has a harder time in a PAL setup and rules than he is at King of the Table. He's able to get away with a lot more. And that's a talent. That's not me degrading him or saying that he's cheating or any of that, because to be able to do what he does is he's the only one that can do it. So, he's an artist. He truly is an artist of what he does. And I think he is very capable of beating Levan. And even in a PAL setup, I think the match is very close. Who ends up winning. I think Levan has, the advantage as far as right now, strength, hand size, just overall power. But then again, part of me thinks if there's anyone that's going to take down Levan, it's going to be Devon.
Yes.
Because he knows where to pick apart the weak spots and really become strong in those areas. And, I think he's studying right now, and I think he's putting together a great game plan like he does with every other match. And I mean, like I said, if there's anyone that's going to take down Levan, it's going to be Devon.
Yeah, and I do think that you're right. PAL, WAF, and the King of the Table rules, there are different things.
And it
And
matters.
like,
It matters.
and it matters. It matters. Like we saw Dave Chafee go against Levan, and almost, I think Levan pinned him once. All the other matches were lost or won wins on fouls because
Right.
the PAL is so strict. You know.
Yes. I think there's PAL is just so strict, and so I almost think it's too fair. You know, it's almost like everything has to be 100% perfect. You get your setup, your lineup, everything is so. And if your elbow even pops up a micro, you know, if they can see anything, even if there wasn't a gain in position, it's a foul and it's a restart. So, you know, and it's not very entertaining to watch at times, and that's why a lot of these matches are happening at King of the Table. But you know, I think that match is a whole different story. I don't know if Devon can get away with some of the things that he gets away with and does at PAL that he does at King of the Table or any other format, you know. And I'm not
Like
saying
the first thing is in King of the Table, you get the strap. Like there's no other way. You get the strap. Like 30 seconds straight grip, and if you don't get a foul, you don't get nothing. You just get the strap. That's the first thing. And if you want to challenge Levan, you got to take his hand out of the equation. And if you get the straps from the beginning, you get a better chance against him. And that's why I do think that all things aside, with the setup of King of the Table and the way Devon's, I don't know, technique or science, because I always say that Devon Larratt is the man that turned arm wrestling from a sport into a science because of his training and all that from his early days on YouTube. But I believe that Devon will stop Levan that first match, and if he bleeds him, it's over. I see it going like the match with John.
In a sense, yes, I think you're right. If he bleeds him, I've never seen Levan in a grinder recently. I mean, I don't know what he looks like when he's gassed. So I think you're right. If he bleeds him, it's just over. I mean, no one has more stamina than Devon. No one.
Yeah.
So that's a factor, and I think you're right. He is going to be able to use the strap and attack Levan's weakest link better than anyone in the world can. So
yeah, and Levan's last loss was with Saban, and he did that. He just stopped him. Open top roll, he stopped him, and Levan just faded away.
Right.
He did that.
Right.
So
I'm sure
Levan, what are your plans for the future, near future and long future, like right now? Or you got to stop?
Yeah, so near future, I have a big match coming up with Brent Rockers at Arizona State's, and very excited for that. That's going to be a big event. Definitely give Arizona Arm Sports a follow. You know, Tim Talmadge is doing a great job promoting that event. That's going to be a pay-per-view match and the card is huge. There's just a ton of good matches. So definitely recommend watching that. But that's sort of all I've been thinking about right now. I'm sort of the type of
Brad is an opponent. He's a big opponent. He's strong.
Yes, very, very strong opponent. Definitely will be a big test for me. And I'm the type of arm wrestler, you know, as far as training goes and matches, you know, the most important match is the next match. I'm not one of those guys that schedule matches on top of matches and think about, you know, what event I'm going to hit after that. I mean, it's balls to the walls to April 23rd. All that matters is Brent Rockers. After that, I don't, you know, I'm not even worried about it. Who cares? It gets like that. That's my match, you know. And then after that,
you have pulled Brett before, right?
So yes, we've seen each other twice in tournaments. One about a little over a year ago in January of 21, and at Worlds in September of 21. And he beat me both times. And it was one of those matches where, looking at it, you know, it looks like he's beat me pretty convincingly, but I felt like I made a few mistakes, and I've had some angles that I probably could have explored more that maybe I didn't have the confidence to at the time or during the match. So I think I'm definitely going to have a lot more for him this go around. But yeah, he's he's one of those guys where there's not a whole lot of weak spots in Brent Rockers. And he's been
Yeah,
doing it
and Brett has been in the sport a long time. He's kind of
a
a
long
legend
time.
too.
Yeah, he's been around. I don't know when he started arm wrestling, but
No,
definitely.
I remember like you've seen like early tournaments when John what is his prime and Todd what is his prime, and you said Brett is you seen him on those tournaments,
Yeah.
so he's been
Oh,
a
yeah.
long while in the sport.
Yes, he's been up there a while, has competed for a long time, and just a solid guy, solid arm wrestler, great dude. Very excited to take the match with him. Yeah, very excited.
Well, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you.
Okay.
This is a stepping stone for you to get to the next level and keep going forward.
Yes, sir. That's the plan. Like I said,
Yeah.
foot on the gas always. All gas, no brakes. That's how it works for me.
Yeah, I wanted to share with you that the name of our channel, PulseoTV, is what we call arm wrestling in Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
That's
I
the
was
word we
wondering
use,
about that.
Pulseo.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. It makes sense now.
Yeah, and that's the word we use, and I believe in Puerto Rico is the only place we call it like that. But because in Latin America they call it lucha de brazos, which is literal like literally what arm wrestling means in Spanish. Arm wrestling is wrestling an arm. Well, in Latin America, everybody calls it lucha de brazos. Lucha is wrestling, and brazo is arm. So it's
Okay.
that's what they call it in Latin America. And Puerto Rico is the only place in the world we call it pulseo.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, learned something new.
Yeah, and it's in Spain. I think they call it sometimes pulsos in Spain, but not pulseo. But we are a small arm wrestling community in Puerto Rico, and you have met Noel and his brother. That Noel lives in Florida, and his brother Sadiel that lives in Puerto Rico, but travels to Florida to compete on those events and tournaments. And we got another kid, which is a really good kid, Wesley Contes, that also travels to Florida and competes. And both of them last year, Sadiel and Wesley, won tournaments in Florida. But in Puerto Rico, we got a small community of arm wrestlers, and we're trying to grow. You know,
Sure.
I made the YouTube channel so people in Puerto Rico to expose the sport, and that people know that there's still arm wrestlers in Puerto Rico, because in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a big tournament in Puerto Rico that it was all year round. They had regional championships. Then at the end of the year, they took all the regional championships and selected one national champion in each weight category, and it was great. But then it died down, and the sport was like dead for like, I don't know, 15, 20 years. And then I started up again. And in 2018, I decided to make this YouTube channel, and I've been at it like almost 4 years, to expose the sport to the people of Puerto Rico, so they know there's still arm wrestlers in Puerto Rico, and to try and reach out to other countries in like the United States and Latin America and all that, so we can participate in the world of arm wrestling, at least in the Pan American sense.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome that you're doing that. I mean, that's fantastic. I've been following you guys a lot, you know, to practice matches that you guys put up at tournaments, and it looks like there's a lot of solid pullers down there, and you've been doing a great job. So keep it up. Great.
I don't like Noel is in another level, because Noel has better competition with pullers on the States. But you know, anybody can beat anybody any day of the week, and you don't really know where you're at until you test yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. Yes.
Like we can see what happened to Leland Adair with Todd Hutchins. Like Leland, nobody defeated Leland in arm wrestling in Australia, but then he came to the United States, and you know, he tested Todd Hutchins and see what happens. Like, you never know the level you're at until you get tested. And what we are trying to do, or what I'm trying to do, is open those doors so our guys can travel even to the States or even to Latin America to compete. like this June 21 of this year's is the Pan American Championship in Costa Rica.
Okay.
And like we cannot participate because that's a WAF sanctioned event, and has like Puerto Rico doesn't have an association or federation or anything. But I'm gonna try and go, and record and get some content for the channel so people can see what's going on in Latin America. That they're like Costa Rica is very organized, Peru is very organized, Colombia is starting to organize and it's doing great. They got great young kids, and the sport in Latin America, it's solid. It's solid.
Wow, that's great to hear. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to come down sometimes or get you guys up here, and that'd be fantastic. You're always welcome in South Carolina.
Yeah, I talked to you about something I have in mind, and I'm praying that everything goes well and the way I'm planning it, so we can work together.
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to it. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. So, Adam, I thank you for being here with us tonight. Is there anything you want to say to the fans of arm wrestling in Puerto Rico?
Stay strong. Love arm wrestling.
Short and precise. I like that.
That's
Well,
fair.
Adam, I won't take more of your time. I thank you for being here with us. We'll keep in contact, and good. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too. Honored to be here. Thanks, y'all.